Well, this morning, all eyes on what's going on in France this morning and the French election, the second round of voting underway. Nigel Farage, Fox News contributor and former leader of the UK Independence Party, joins us now to break it all down. Nigel, welcome to the show. Nice to see you this morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. So if you look at the recent forecast, it looks like Macron up nicely. We just had an interesting debate about whether or not the email hacking scandal would have any play in the French election, and it looks like he is out comfortably in front. We don't know yet. President Obama has now thrown his support behind this candidate. Yesterday, he released a 30-second or longer video. We're going to play that and get your response. Take a listen.
I'm not planning to get involved in many elections now that I don't have to run for office again. But the French election is very important to the future of France and the values that we care so much about. I have admired the campaign that Emmanuel Macron has run. He has stood up for liberal values. He put forward a vision for the important role that France plays in Europe and around the world. He appeals to people's hopes and not their fears. I know that you face many challenges, and I want all of my friends in France to know how much I am rooting for your success.
So, Nigel, he's the hope candidate, not the fear candidate.
Well, look, I think 2016 was a pretty bad year for people like Obama. Brexit was a shock. Trump was probably even worse for him. And, you know, the globalists will stick together. They realized that all across the West there is a new movement standing up and fighting for national democracy, and that is what Le Pen stands for. But once again, of course, Obama tries to paint this, that somehow he's got the positive vision for the future. He is defending a failing, crumbling European Union. And whether or not Le Pen can close that gap today, whatever happens, Euroscepticism in France would have taken a massive leap forward today.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you know, Le Pen is down by quite a margin in the polls as of right now. You were behind the Brexit movement. That surprised a lot of people. You know, no one really thought that was going to happen. What is the mood like in France? Can you give us a sense of how people are feeling and sort of what you think might impact people going to polls today?
Well, I think the mood in France is actually quite sullen, to be honest with you. I mean, let's not forget there have been 21 separate terrorist attacks that have taken place in France since 2015. They are stuck in a currency that clearly is overvalued for them, although, of course, undervalued for the Germans. And France is in a very bad place. But is it ready? Is it ready yet to endorse a candidate that wants France to pull out of the European Union? Well, maybe not yet. But I'll say this. I do think Marine Le Pen will become the French president. It just may be in 2022 as opposed to today.
Sure, Nigel, I remember you standing in front of in Brussels saying, hey, someday the UK will leave this body. We will leave the EU, and people laughed. And then 15 years later, there you were leaving the EU. So you believe if Le Pen isn't the perfect candidate now, eventually what's happening on the ground, the effects of globalism, the effects of open borders, the effects of refugees are going to catch up to the French people, and they will vote to leave, or they will vote to secure their borders. So it may not happen today, but you think eventually it will.
I do, and I mean, you know, if we'd had this conversation, say 2 years ago, if 2 years ago I'd said to you that Marine Le Pen would be in the runoff for the French presidential election and likely to get around about 40% of the vote, you simply wouldn't have believed me, and that's how much things have changed. You know, this vision of a Europe where nation-states should give up their identities and have open borders, it may be a dream of the elites like Obama, but it's not what ordinary people want. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, the European project is doomed, and Brexit really was the first big step on that road.
People are pointing to chaos, right? Brexit is going to lead to chaos as the first round of Brexit starts to take hold in the United Kingdom. Is chaos on the streets right now when you walk outside on the streets of London?
You know, the stock market is 30% higher than it was this time last year. We've had excellent export figures, and the UK economy is doing a lot better than most of the Eurozone economies.
And what are the elites saying about that? What are the globalists saying about that?
Well, what the globalists say is, that's because Brexit itself hasn't yet kicked in, but when it does, we're told that the British economy will fall off a cliff. And this is how the establishment status quo, they maintain their positions by telling people terrible things would happen if we have democratic change. That democratic change is sweeping the Western world. 2016, we will look back in years to come, as 2016 was the year that changed everything, and that process is set to continue.
All right, well, you've had some good predictions over the past few months. What do you predict will happen today, if you're being honest?
Thank you. Well, it's going to be a Macron victory, but as I say, Le Pen, I think, will get 40% plus of the vote, and she will build a base from which she will win in 2022.
Okay.
We've got that on tape, Nigel, and we will use it for you or against you in a number of years. Thanks for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Have a great day.